Now let's consider the following function given by g of x is square root of x minus square root of x. We first find the domain of definition. So we said we need to have everything inside the square to be positive. But we need to start with this first square. This first condition gives us this one. And also we need to have this one here positive. So x minus square root of x positive. Okay? This gives us that x is bigger than 0 and x is bigger than square root of x. Okay? We can solve the following equation. X equals square root of x, even that x is positive. So we square both sides to get x squared is x. This gives that x is 0 or x is 1. Okay? So they intersect at this point. But when we do the sign checking, we notice that x is bigger than the square root of x when x is in the interval 1 plus infinity. So we have two conditions then. So we have arrived at x is bigger than 0 and x is bigger than 1. So this gives us that x is in the interval 1 plus infinity. So this is the domain of this function. Okay? To see this condition here, how we get here graphically, we graph the function. So this is the square root of x. This is x. I'm doing it approximatively. So this is 1. So x is above the square root of x when x is bigger than 1. They intersect at this point. Okay? So here, this is y. So this is 0, this is 1. So x is bigger than square root of x when x is bigger than 1. Okay? So with this condition, x is bigger than 0 and x bigger than 1. So we get x is bigger than 1. That means x is in the domain 1 plus infinity. Another thing that we can do here is to find the limit. What's the limit? So the limit of this function as the limit of g of x as x gets bigger. So it's the limit of the square root of x minus square root of x. Here we have, if we get the limit inside, we get plus infinity minus infinity, because we know that the limit of the square root is plus infinity. So we have this undetermined form. So to get rid of that, we factor out by x. Okay? So inside the square, we factor out by x, we get 1 minus square root of x over x. And we do more algebra. So this means that this one is 1 minus 1 over square root of x. Okay? And we get the product of two functions. So we get the square root, it has plus infinity, and 1 minus 1 over square root of x, it's 1, since this one goes to 0. Okay? So a limit square root of x times 1 minus 1 over square root of x as x gets the plus infinity. So here, this is plus infinity times 1, because 1, the limit of 1 minus 1 over square root of x is 1. So times 1, so plus infinity. So this is the limit. So we can write it here, the limit of g of x as x gets bigger is plus infinity. Okay? We can also say that g of x is positive. G of x is positive when x is in 1 plus infinity. So when we graph the function, so it's going to be above the here, and maybe here. It's going to go to infinity, 1, 0. So it's going to be something like this. Okay? So if you graph it and you found something like here, that's negative. So that means you are wrong. So this is just checking. So we will come back to this one if we have time.